That's Nick.
And that's Joseph, and today we're here to talk about Body Talk, the 1991 film.
Body Talk?
Oh, sorry, fuck.
It's okay, keep going. There's a movie called Body Talk.
There is? No, that's a...
Sierra has an album called Body Talk, I think.
Doesn't Robin?
And Robin?
There's parts 1, 2, and 3. Body Talk. Okay, no, Body Parts.
Well, now I'm concerned that Sierra doesn't have an album called Body Talk.
Maybe.
Body Party. She has a song called Body Party. This movie is called Body Parts, directed by...
Eric Red. It's a 1991 release. Shout Factory is putting it out on Blu-ray on January 28th, 2020. And it really is a film that begs the age-old human question. And that is in the film's tagline, where does evil live? The heart, the mind, or the flesh?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, what's up with Jeff Fahey's hair? But whatever.
No, that is another question that has not been rightly answered.
So this film falls under the category of so bad it's good.
Oh, I was very entertained by this.
Yeah, it's a terrible movie and the story is ridiculous, but I had a good time watching it. So it's basically about a man who gets into an accident. His arm...
He's a criminal psychologist.
Sure. So his arm gets... Well, we're going to explain it. But the basic story is this man is in an accident. His arm is, like, injured beyond repair. So this doctor comes out and says, like, we need to... we have the opportunity to replace his arm with like, a donor's arm. And in a scene that is very, like the wife of this man agrees, like, without reading any papers, that they can do this. He gets his arm, another arm transplanted onto him, and that arm takes over.
And he discovers that it belonged to a serial killer.
Yeah, so the man in question is played by Jeff Fahey, who's known for what?
His heyday was this period, like the late 80s, early 90s. His other big movie was probably Lawnmower Man, which is utter trash.
Okay.
That is hard to watch.
Now I want to watch it.
You've seen it.
Oh.
And you listened to the How Did This Get Made about that too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really not worth keeping in your memory.
Anyway, so he and the person who directed this, what else did they do?
Eric Red. So Eric Red's an interesting... He started out as a screenwriter. He wrote The Hitcher, that famous Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell film from the 80s that was remade. He wrote a couple of Catherine Bigelow, I guess, classics, Near Dark and Blue Steel. And then he directed a handful of films, including that Mariel Hemingway werewolf movie I do kind of like, called Bad Moon. But then in about 2000, he got in a really bizarre accident where, according to the news reports, he blacked out and killed a couple people in, like, vehicular manslaughter. And was so distraught at the time, he tried to slit his throat with broken glass. And I think he was never formally charged, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of scandal around that I didn't research too heavily beyond those articles published around then. But he didn't do a movie again until 2008 with Famke Johnson that I haven't seen. And that's about it for him.
So, Jeff Fahey plays a criminal psychologist, which I think is a very important thing to note when thinking about the story. So, he plays a criminal psychologist. Gets into an accident. The first few scenes are him visiting a prisoner.
Yeah. And has a kind of contentious conversations with him.
Right. Gets his transplant, and there's like a montage of him going through physical therapy. He finally is like fully recovered, goes home, and starts noticing that his arm has a mind of its own.
Like backhanding the kid and trying to strangle his wife, played by Kim Delaney.
Is she related to
Dana?
Yeah, because she looks like
she looks like her.
Yeah. Now that I think about it. Anyway, he starts to research...
so the prisoner that he'd been speaking with, that's the catalyst for him realizing that I need to check out who this arm belonged to, because...
There's a tattoo on his arm.
That no one asked questions about.
That no one asked questions about. That, yes, the criminal or the prisoner who he had been providing therapy for, I guess, points it out and says, like, only, like, someone on death row would have that. He researches, finds out that the arm belonged to, like, a career criminal, like, murderer. So that sets him off, and he starts to believe, based on these weird actions, that perhaps the evil is in the skin or something.
Is it in the arm? So he goes and finds some other donors, the man that has 2 legs, and then Brad Dourif, an artist who has the other arm, that has been painting basically murder scenes.
Violent art that has become quite popular.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the woman who plays the doctor,
Lindsay Duncan, my favorite part.
She's good.
Which we reviewed The Reflecting Skin.
I remember.
Yeah, she's got a very unique look.
Yeah, she's definitely a high point of the film. Just her acting and that characterization. But the crux of why this film is so bad is that a clinically trained psychologist would fall off, he just goes off the rails so quickly.
He does.
And believes things that make no sense. There's even a scene where he visits the doctor who performed the surgery, and she says this makes no sense. You should, as a man, in your profession, you should know this makes no sense. And as the audience, I'm like, how is this happening?
Yeah, basically he's like, fuck you.
Because my first thought, if I were a psychologist, would be that I'm having sort of this is a psychological reaction to the trauma I experienced. But he just goes right to there's evil in my arm.
Right, when she tells him that perhaps you need to see a psychiatrist.
She even says, I recommend you see a psychiatrist, and he doesn't. But the film culminates with...
Well, it gets insane because it turns out that the killer isn't dead.
The killer's head was transplanted onto someone else's body, and now they're trying to...
That he's going around...
getting his parts back.
Reclaiming his parts.
So there are scenes where he rips off arms and legs, and there's a really good scene where he is being chased by Jeff Fahey's character. The killer's car crashes, so he gets out of this exploding, this car on fire with all his body parts dangling from him. Just so ridiculous.
Which a pretty decent car chase scene. That makes no sense either, but it's kind of fun.
The car chase scene was very tense because they're handcuffed. The 2 gentlemen in each car are handcuffed to each other.
In 2 different cars.
In 2 different cars, so they have to drive so close that they don't rip each other's arms off. That was... it's ridiculous, but it was fun.
It's kind of fun.
So Jeff Fahey's character ends up following or finding the killer in the doctor is in cahoots with the killer, right?
Yeah, basically. She's doing all kinds of shit.
She's doing all kinds of experimental shit that she shouldn't be, or things that aren't ethical.
And the lead detective seems to always be everywhere.
Who's this man with some of the most interesting teeth? The black man.
Zaki Smoke.
Yeah, he had a very interesting look.
Yeah.
I feel like he should be in more things. Maybe he is.
I think he is a character actor. Yeah.
But yeah, that detective was good. He seems to be everywhere. But yeah, Jeff Fahey ends up killing everybody, and then going back to having.
And then his arm is okay. He killed the evil. It did answer the question. The evil's not in the flesh.
Wow. Yeah, because once he kills the killer, whose mind is still active, then the evil's dead. But another sort of plot point throughout is that he keeps a journal.
Yes.
Which is very funny.
That he mails off to his wife, this is my last journal entry. And it's in Jeff Fahey's voice, which is about as dry as his hair.
Oh.
That hair is so distracting.
The wife, her characterization, the first time he slaps their kid, she just explodes on him. It was very white woman.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
She just goes off. No concern for that her husband just had this traumatic, injury and he may have PTSD. And he's the wife of a psychologist. You think she would be able to process what's happening a little more completely. But no, she goes off the rails. Then he attempts to choke her. And then she kicks him out of the house.
While he's sleeping, the hand.
He ends up living in a motel and... This movie's a mess, but it's a good time.
So this is a couple important things to bring up.
Okay.
It's loosely based on a novel called Choice Cuts by Pierre Boileau.
Oh, I like that title.
I like that title too. Pierre Boileau and Thomas Narcejac, who famously wrote Diabolique, Hitchcock's Vertigo, and my personal favorite, Eyes Without a Face, which was made into a film by Georges Franju. But that being said, I couldn't help but think of a variety of other films that had similar plot things, particularly Hands of Orlock, which was made into 4 different film versions, the most notable one being the 1935 Peter Lorre one called Mad Love, where he's a pianist who gets a hand transplant and the hand kills people.
Okay.
So it does basically the same thing. There's a Night Gallery episode that's very similar to this. Oliver Stone made a film in 1981 called The Hand with Michael Caine, also very similar. And a classic that I love is Seconds by John Frankenheimer with Rock Hudson. That has some similar techniques. And do you remember The Eye?
With Jessica Alba?
Well, it was a 2002 film by the Pang brothers first, and it was remade starring Jessica Alba about her transplanted cornea, and that used to belong to,
There's a movie called Idle Hands.
With Devon Sawa?
Is that where he...
I never saw that, actually.
Oh.
So...
Yeah, this the plot seemed very familiar. I was hoping, because I had never heard of this film, that it would be like that film Shocker.
Oh,
is that a
Wes Craven? Yeah.
I was hoping it would be something like that.
With Peter Berg. Ugh,
yeah, but it's not that electrifying.
No, I like this film more than Shocker. I found Peter Berg is very unlikable.
Sure. But this film isn't as directly fun. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. And lastly, Jeff Fahey, he's interesting. I'm surprised to know that he was kind of a big deal in the 90s. He's not very appealing.
Was he big? I remember my father loathed him for whatever reason. He'd be like, "We're not going to watch that Jeff Fahey film." But
well, I mean, I can see why. Maybe he didn't appeal to me at all.
Yeah,
I don't even remember The Lawnmower Man.
And you watched it quite.
And I watched it and listened to a podcast about it.
The list was notably lensed by Theo Van de Sande, who was the cinematographer on Blade.
Oh.
Also.
Okay.
So kind of a fun favorite.
What would you give this film?
It's.
I would give it 1.5 out of 5 stars. It's not a good movie. It is fun.
I was leaning towards 2. I wanted to give it 2.5, but really, I think 2 out of 5.
Okay.
But it's a lot more fun than that score suggests.
Yeah, I mean, it's so bad it's good.
Oh, and also an interesting tidbit. This was 1991 when it came out, right? So it wasn't marketed in Wisconsin.
Because of Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. All right.
Interesting, huh?
Do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Bye.
Bye.